You're listening to the Fan Club Podcast, where two polar opposites discover each other's fandoms for the very first time. Hey guys, and welcome back to the Fan Club Podcast. My name is Sarah.
This is Matthew.
And today is episode 28. We are covering episodes 7 and 8 of Wandavision.
Yes.
Happy Thursday. Tomorrow will be the finale all by itself, just because this is how it shook out.
And there's just a lot of info that goes on in the 9th episode.
So
where we didn't feel like it would do justice to group it in with 7 and 8.
So episode 7 is called Breaking the Fourth Wall, and episode 8 is called Previously On.
Yeah, so this episode is more in like 2010 sitcom, so it's mainly Modern Family.
Modern Family, yeah. It's because it's very mockumentary, which is Modern Family, The Office, Parks and Rec.
But it had more of the Modern Family, not so much Parks and Rec and The Office vibe.
So the intro is
very Modern Family.
The song is The Office, which again didn't watch.
Yeah.
I know people love it. Couldn't get into it.
I don't get it.
Sorry, hot take. If you love The Office, good for you. I just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the intro is like it's basically Modern Family and The Office mashed. I liked that they found or made a bunch of like random signs that said Wanda, or like there's one in particular that said something along, it was like written out in like newspaper or magazine clippings of like what like a stalker would send you, and it said something about like, I know what you're doing, or something like that. Wanda is like, it's the morning after Halloween, so she wakes up like in her Halloween costume.
Yeah, and she's having mental breaks.
Well, because she goes downstairs to make like breakfast, and like the milk carton is changing eras.
She's losing control again.
The TV is changing eras. The furniture is changing eras. The house is changing eras.
Did you catch the cereal?
No.
There's 2 subtle clues on it. One, snap, which is for Thanos. And there's a clown on it, which is supposed to represent the sword people turning into clowns. We
flash to Operation Cataract, which is basically Hayward's like plan, basically.
Yeah.
And their plan, Operation Cataract, is to turn Vision into a weapon, which is precisely what Vision did not want.
Yes. So Hayward, kind of like what we talked about in yesterday's episode, still has Vision. So I still want to know, how is he tracking him? How is Hayward tracking something of Wanda's imagination?
So then Vision wakes up Darcy. They're in the armored, I think they're in a funnel cake truck. Darcy is in, like, she's in the circus.
Yeah, her whole thing is breaking out of cages, like breaking out of locks.
She's like the Houdini, basically.
Yeah, because when she was turned, she was attached to the truck and had to escape.
Yeah. And then we get our antidepressant ad, which is very of the era. It's called Nexus. Which, did you know that the United States is the only country that has
medication? That can show medication commercials?
Yeah.
Yes.
It is like something that's weirdly, uniquely American.
No other country does it, because every other country believes that your doctor should be the one to tell you about the medication. You shouldn't have to go to your doctor and tell your doctor, hey, I think I need this.
It is very of its time.
But
like,
do you remember what it is described as?
No.
A unique antidepressant that works to anchor you back to your reality or the reality of your choice.
Yeah, I knew it was something along those lines.
Which is still a little bit on the nose.
Okay, so they then decide to send Monica in to say, I'm just telling you right now, I don't have a ton of notes on this specific. Not a whole lot happens in this particular episode.
Yeah.
They want to send Monica in to save Darcy.
No, Monica wants to go in, and she doesn't know that Darcy's been taken. She wants to go in and save Wanda. She doesn't know what happened to Sword. So she realizes that she needs, like, cadmium resistant, radiation resistant, like a whole bunch of different things on this truck. But the hex is magic based, where you can't use normal stuff to get through, and her armored tank starts to change with her in it. So she jumps out of it, and Wu says, don't go back in there. It's already messed with her DNA. Who knows what will happen if you go back in? And so she goes back in.
And we learned that the barrier is affecting the structure and integrity of the vehicle.
Not the structure and integrity, it's changing the vehicle.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah, it's changing the vehicle to kind of like the circus or different things like that. It's
changing the mask of it, but the actual vehicle is the same.
Yes, but they don't know that.
Yeah.
Or they kind of do because of Monica's outfit, but...
Vision is trying to get home, and Wanda is trying everything to prevent him from coming home because she knows that he's onto her.
Yeah, so they do, like, the typical construction on the light at a stoplight.
Which is another trope, I feel like, that they're just trying to create hijinks.
Children are just walking through the street randomly, like...
Or like a storm.
No, there wasn't, or different things like that, but they used...
Classic, hijinks.
Yeah.
Monica then goes to Wanda and they argue, and she's basically like, you trusted me to deliver your children.
Yeah,
and
because she goes to warn her.
Yeah. And there's this whole debate about whether or not Wanda is a villain, which we kind of discussed a little bit.
I don't think so. Because she's doing it not to harm people.
She's doing it to deal with her
grief. But, like, is there another villain that you can think of in the MCU that is a villain like, or a person like Wanda? I can't think of another...
I mean, Agatha.
Like, villain-wise. Like, the show was making you believe that Wanda was the villain the entire time. But can you think of another MCU villain that had the same similar motives that Wanda is feeling? Like, the grief. Maybe Ghost?
Maybe. I feel like Ghost is equally as kind of ambiguous.
But she was willing to kill people to get what she wanted. Wanda...
The thing with Wanda is...
It was all for grief.
It's all the manifestation of her grief and her trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Frankly, if she just got some therapy, maybe she wouldn't have done it.
She literally saw her boyfriend die twice in front of her.
Well, and her parents and her brother.
Her parents, her brother.
Well, her brother didn't die in front of her, but within the vicinity.
Then she disappeared for 5 years. And then came back.
I think she needs some severe therapy.
She needs more than therapy. She needs, like, I don't know, but she needs something stronger than therapy. She needs alcohol.
So...
I don't condone drinking people.
You don't condone drinking people?
Comma people. I don't condone drinking...
Comma people.
Yes. Right?
You don't condone drinking people either.
Yes. Don't drink people.
So, she figures out that the boys are missing, and she goes over to Agatha's house, and Wanda goes down to the basement to investigate, and we learn that Agnes is Agatha Harkness. And we get this, like, really catchy song about, like, it was Agatha all along.
Which, I just read sometime.
Agnes. Agatha Harkness.
Yeah. Agatha all along plays tribute to spooky sitcom themes of the past, like the Munsters and the Addams Family. I can hear the Addams Family.
Mm-hmm.
Da-da-da. Da-da-da. We watched all that. We always watched Addams Family growing up.
Yeah,
I liked Addams Family.
So yeah, that's episode 7.
And let's just say Agatha, villain, we finally get the first... Would we say this is the first magic villain? Like, actual raw magic? Or would you say...
Caecilius?
Caecilius. I could not remember his name for the life of me. I was about to say...
Mads Mikkelsen?
Yes. I was just about to say his real name. No, would you say... Because he is magical, but more... Because Doctor Strange magic is different than Wanda and Agnes magic. Agatha. Agatha, Wanda, and the other person. And Doctor Strange magic are vastly different. One is more of, like, not so much spells, more of, like, how I would even describe Doctor Strange magic.
So, then we go into episode 8, which is called Previously Odd, which I think is a really clever name because we get a lot of flashbacks in this episode.
Yes, which this episode is all about Agnes, which I like.
Well, we also get the backstory on Wanda's parents, too.
Yeah, but it's mainly about Agnes.
So we start in Salem, 1663.
Which, if you know what happens that year's Witch Trials.
Which is also, while we're here, in the first episode, Agatha says that her anniversary with Ralph is June 2nd, which is the day that the Salem Witch Trials started.
Mm-hmm.
Which I did not know until I was watching, like, Easter egg videos. So basically we learned that Agatha betrayed her coven.
To read from the Darkhold.
Yep.
Which
is basically the MCU's version of...
the Necronomicon.
Yeah. Necronomicon.
That's what I said.
You said Necrocomicon.
The Dark Comic-Con. The Evil Comic-Con. No, what is it called? In, the Minions. What was the Evil Comic-Con called?
You're asking the wrong person.
I think it was like...
I love how you're referencing the Minions of all things.
Sorry, but they had an evil person Comic-Con. They had an evil person convention.
Con?
Maybe.
That's clever.
That is really clever. I'll give you props on that one. Oh, it's just called Villain Con. That is disappointing.
I like Con better.
Yes. That is so much better than Villain Con. Like, come on, people.
Hire me, Illumination. Hire me.
I know the movie's based in the 60s. No, this has nothing to do with Illumination at all.
I don't know why you brought the Minions into this.
No, because it was evil
Necrocomicon.
Yeah, evil Comic-Con.
We figure out
Remember, anytime you read from the Darkhold, you get black fingers.
Basically, we figure out that Wanda can't read Agatha's mind like she can everybody else's.
I don't know if she actually ever tried.
Pretty sure she did, because she's trying to, like, control her.
No, this is in the basement.
I know.
But you can't do magic in another person's, like, magic place.
So, it's because that Agatha casts protection spells on the walls.
Where only
and
the
protection
witch...
the protection spells protect the witch. They only act in the favor of the witch who casted them.
So, kind of? No, so, only the witch who made them can perform magic there.
Yeah.
So, would Doctor Strange still be able to? Because it's a different type of magic? I mean, I don't even know what you would even call Doctor Strange magic. For their magic, you need the sling ring. So that's kind of like, would Doctor Strange magic be more like Harry Potter magic? Because you have to have the
you
wand.
You can do wandless magic in Harry Potter.
True, but
it's a highly, like, it's a skill that not everybody possesses.
But I wouldn't say, like, Wanda's is like Harry Potter. I can't think of the magic, like, a fandom that would be similar to...
Because most magic systems have some... There's some form of a tool in which to channel your magic through.
You need to say, like, some spell name or something.
Well, no. Most magic systems need some form of a tool. Mm-hmm. So the sling ring, a wand, something of that nature.
A spell name, a piece of paper.
Or even in, like, traditional witches, they typically do, like, more ritualistic spells where they need a bunch of, like, ingredients and things of that nature. But very rarely is it just, like, you just do the thing.
Yeah. So...
That made no sense to anyone but me.
No, it made sense. Like, most magic in, like, most fantasy novels, like, witches will do Eye of Toad, Tongue of Bat, or whatever.
That's much more stereotypical witch. That's much more... I don't love this movie, but it's much more like Hocus Pocus.
Yeah... But
sorry,
you know
hot take.
No, you know what I mean.
Hot take, and sorry to those Hocus Pocus stands that are looking forward to that sequel.
I think it's out already.
Is it?
I don't know. I think it just released.
At the time that this episode releases, or now?
Now.
So basically we learned that Agatha sent Pietro.
Kinda. So, Pietro already lived in the town as a teen.
We learn later that he's Ralph.
He's not Ralph.
Yes, he is.
I thought it was just some teen.
No. We learned his name is Ralph Boner.
I don't think that's her Ralph. Is it?
Yes.
Oh. Ew. She's like 1,000 years old. Gross.
So Agatha is, like, trying to figure out how Wanda did this whole pocket reality, but, like, frankly, Wanda doesn't know.
No. Because most witches are trained. Wanda's just magical.
Yep. And so she wants to understand Wanda, and so she conjures a door. I'm sorry, that sounded really weird. She conjures a door to the past.
Yes.
And we see her parents. We go to Sokovia.
Yeah.
And we see her parents, and they're watching the Dick Van Dyke Show.
They're watching all the old TV shows, which is why all of the original other episodes were the old shows.
We see this drawer of DVDs. And it's Dick Van Dyke Show.
It would have been VHSs.
Yeah, but whatever. Oh, we see Dick Van Dyke, we see
Bewitched.
I Love Lucy, Bewitched, we see like a bunch of them. Mm-hmm. I think that there's one, I can't remember which one it is, but I think there's one that based on the timing didn't exist.
She would have been in the 80s. She was
born in 1989.
Yeah, so...
But I think that there was one in there that didn't exist, like within their collection. So basically the bomb goes off, and I love this shot. She's in the rubble, and...
she's just watching.
The TV is still playing.
Dick Van Dyke.
Which is so weird because a bomb just went off. How is it still connected to power?
No, the bombs were going off nearby.
Mm-hmm.
But the bomb that landed in her house never went off. So, the theory goes, Wanda always had abilities. But they weren't, because the Scarlet Witch is born with her abilities. And so, the fan theory goes, she made it so that the bomb wouldn't go off.
Mm-hmm.
She survived trapped underneath the bomb for 2 days with no food and no water, and she still survived.
Yeah.
What 8-year-old, or I don't know, 10-year-old would have been able to survive that? I know when I was 10, I would just kill me now. I
was so naive as a 10-year-old. As I think most 10-year-olds should be, frankly. Yeah.
But with this... But, I don't know if you noticed this or not at the beginning of the episode. The Marvel Studio logo was purple. To be more for Agatha's power.
So basically we go to the lab where she gets her powers, and Wanda touches the Mind Stone. And there's actually a really cool shot of her touching the Mind Stone. It kind of explodes, and it's like shining yellow, and I don't know, it's just really cool. It's a really cool shot.
Oh, the episode of Dick Van Dyke that she chooses to watch shows Most Famous Season 2. It may look like a walnut. This episode follows Van Dyke as he obsesses over a TV sci-fi movie about aliens invading Earth through disguised walnuts, to the point where he starts to believe that his own family and neighborhood have been taken over. In the false reality he constructed and says turned out to be nothing but a dream, which is similar to what Wanda's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And she says that that's her favorite episode, so it could have been like a subconscious thing. We go to Avengers compound. And in every single scene, almost, except for the one in the lab, mm-hmm. she's watching some kind of sitcom.
Yeah.
This one is the Brady Bunch scene. Yeah. And Cindy, the younger sister, is playing with a little doll.
Yeah, so it's season 1, episode Kitty Carrie All Is Missing, where Cindy loses her toy doll, which she views as a real baby, might be foreshadowing Wanda losing her children, who may or may not actually exist outside the Hex. It is also, on a lighter note, it's an also callback to episode 3, where Viz practices baby changing skills on a doll that looked a lot like Kitty Carryall.
Yep.
That's a weird name for a doll.
So then we go to Sword, where we see Vision's body kind of, not to be morbid, but...
Taken apart.
I guess he's a robot, so... But he's sentient, so it makes me feel weird about it. And that's a direct reference to the comics, like the way that his body is laid out. Did you know that?
Wanda storms into the Sword headquarters and uses her magic to scan Vision's lifeless body. She tears up and says, "I can't feel you." It's a heartbreaking parallel to Vision's last words in Avengers Infinity War. Mm-hmm. When she moves to destroy the Mind Stone in his forehead, he reassures her, saying that he doesn't feel pain, "I just feel you."
So sweet.
That broke me!
So his body is in pieces so they can investigate the sentient weapon.
Yeah.
Which Sword stands for sentient weapon. So she goes back to her car. Did you notice what color her car is?
No.
It's red. It's her color scheme.
True.
There's a letter in her car, and we don't see what's on the letter at this point, but she drives to Westview.
I think she's just driving.
No, we figure out later what the letter is.
That's right.
And she basically goes... We find out that the letter is a deed to this lot, mm-hmm. where they were going to build a house together.
Yeah.
Which is so sweet. And she goes to the open lot that Vision selected for them. That you can see, like, the foundation was kind of starting to mm-hmm. be built.
That's right.
And she kind of is overcome with rage and grief, and she kind of screams, and this is what created the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then we flash back to Agatha, and she calls her the Scarlet Witch.
Yes, she finally realizes that she is the Scarlet Witch. But did you catch with the license plate? Wanda's Audi's has a New York license plate, Audi, with Stanley's familiar catchphrase Excelsior is on it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there was one other thing that I totally forgot. I don't know how they would have done the TV shows with Stan Lee as the cameo. Would he have just been in one, or would he have been in more episodes? Like,
I don't know.
Would he have been in all the episodes, or would he have just been in one? Because I don't know how they would have done it. That is really interesting, and we will never, ever know.
Okay, way to depress us. So, yeah, that is episodes 7 and 8. Tomorrow we will be covering episode 9. What are your thoughts on these 2 episodes?
I like it. I really do like the TV shows. I think, honestly, going more TV shows wise for MCU is a lot better because they can also explain a lot more over it instead of doing like a movie.
Mm-hmm. They have more time.
Yeah. Because they would have had to cut out a lot of decades if they did this as a movie.
Oh, for sure. At first I was like, why didn't they just do this as a movie? But it works more episodically than it does.
Like, I know I keep bringing DC into this, but like what they did with Justice League, they made it into like a TV show / movie. It's like 6 parts to it. Where if you wanted to watch it as a movie, you can on HBO Max. Or if you want to watch it as a TV show, you can. Or a movie or whatever. I wish they did that for like Infinity War. Because they could have done a lot more, in my opinion.
What, you wanted like a 7-hour movie?
No, what I'm saying is like...
You wanted a Snyder cut?
Not so much of a Snyder cut, per se. More of like, yeah, like a Snyder cut. Yeah, like a Snyder cut.
Not a Snyder cut, but a Snyder cut.
No, I was rethinking it, but yeah, absolutely more of like a Snyder cut for it, because they could have done a lot more, like, showing the...
I think Infinity War felt plenty long.
No, I know it did, but they could have done it as, like...
I know Endgame's technically longer, but Infinity War felt longer.
No, Infinity War's longer.
Really?
Infinity War's the longest MCU. By, like, 15-20 minutes. It's the longest, by far.
Okay.
No, I wish, like, they could have gone in more depth with Tony and Nebula being trapped on the spaceship.
Mm-hmm.
They could have done a little bit more with, like, the 5-year gap, in my opinion. Because it literally went from them being... I know we're long past that at this point.
I think I liked... To be completely honest, I think I liked the first half of Wandavision better than I liked the second half.
Why?
I
mean, you knew it had to come to an end.
Oh, I know. It just... Something about the way that it's ending I don't know how to describe it. I don't know how to put it into words.
It feels rushed?
Not necessarily rushed. It just, like... I really loved the campiness of the beginning.
Yeah.
And it kind of turned into a I don't use average as, like, a bad thing, but it turned into, like, an average MCU thing.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, MCU follows its own script.
I really liked the break from the formula, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen the other TV shows yet. I mean, Moon Knight does not feel like an MCU at all.
But I'm just saying, I liked the break from the formula that the first half of WandaVision gave us.
Okay. I mean, it was more...
And it felt, the second half it followed the formula.
Yeah. But it still needs to follow the same formula.
It's not a bad thing. I don't mean it to be a bad thing.
No, I know.
Just, personally, I really love the way Elizabeth Olsen captures this campiness in the beginning.
Yeah.
And I kind of I miss being in the dark. Like, I really loved that speculation of, like, what's gonna happen.
I mean, you still don't know what's going to happen. Each episode, you learn a new piece to the puzzle. Yeah,
I know. I just really liked being, like, I loved this feeling that I had in the first 2 episodes where I was like, I'm confused. Where are we? What are we doing here?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, we don't know what's going on. And this is why I kind of wish, I don't wish it got prolonged, because then I feel like it would have felt really stretched out and, like, long. But at the same time, I wish we got a little more of that beginning.
Here's a slight callback to the first episode. Do you remember the red heart?
Yeah.
There was a heart also on that letter.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the house was going to be done on that day.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, so, like, the date, like, on the day in the first episode, I think that's when the house was going to be done. On whatever date that was. I don't remember it off the top of my head.
Or that they were planning to go see it or something like that.
I mean, Vision already bought the deed. So
no, I know. Or like that it was officially like in their name.
No, I think it was like their move-in date.
Something like that.
Because, I mean, when you're building a house, the house gets in your name.
But it was only like the foundation was done when she went to go see it.
But because of the 5-year gap, I'm guessing they didn't finish it because Vision died and Wanda disappeared, so no one was paying for it anymore.
Or maybe like the construction crew got snapped or something like that.
Yeah, and so that's
an interesting conversation. So yeah, that is a wrap on episodes 7 and 8. Tomorrow we will be covering the finale.
Yeah, the finale of WandaVision, and then starting Falcon and Winter Soldier after that.
So yeah, join us tomorrow. Yeah, we'll see you then.
Bye. If you would like to send us any feedback, you can follow us on Instagram at thefanclub_podcast or Twitter at fanclub_podcast. You can also discuss each episode with us on our subreddit, which is reddit.com/r/thefanclubpodcast. And make sure you tune in every Marvel Monday.